So here we are once again. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. I'm Mobile Geezer, which if you're on my YouTube channel, you know that, but you can also follow us live on Facebook under Mobile Geezer or George Hayes, and on X under @Mobile So if you're new here, please say something in the chat so I'll know you're here and mention where you're from. Very much appreciate you being here. We do this every Friday night. We go over a few of the stories that have happened in tech from last Friday to this Friday. I try to pick out any big tech stories or events that happen during the week. Sometimes there aren't any, sometimes there's one or two. And then I just try to come up with a couple of stories or a few stories that I just think are interesting to me and I'm hoping would be interesting to you since you follow tech like me and you're somewhat of a tech head like I am, I would imagine. So every week I put the stories for the week on my webpage. So I will show you what that looks like. I'm going to share screen. And if you go to my webpage at mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, you just click on today's date, you'll get all the show notes just for tonight's show. Now, if you're new, way back, four and a half, 5 years ago, when we started this, it was me, Mike in New Jersey, and Will in New Jersey. Both of them rarely have time to get on these days. Mike found out he makes quite a bit of money doing DoorDash on the weekend, so that's where he usually is. Will works two full-time jobs, one during the week, one on the weekend. So once in a great while, he will come in here. For the last 4 years, Ted from Texas will often come in when he has time, but he has a full-time job and he has a side photography business of his own. So the last 3 weeks he hasn't, 3 weeks he hasn't made it, but he did send me a message on Telegram saying he's going to try to make it, but this is the big season, it's spring for photographers. So of course he's out there making money. So just wanted to let you know. So if it's just me, usually it'll be pretty quick show. If Ted joins, it ends up being a little longer, and of course the discussion is much more interesting. And Brian just popped in here. Welcome, Brian. As always, Brian is one of the most faithful subscribers we have, along with a couple of others. Right now, he's the only one in here that I can see. So if anybody else says something in the comments, I'll know about it and I'll let you know. So as always, welcome, Brian. Always very great to have you here. So back to my webpage showing you the show notes. And every week when I show you the show notes, now of course you can go to my webpage and just click on every article that I click on and you can read through them yourselves. You can follow the links. And I give you a little preview since we're here. So tonight, I said, Apple ad received as AI will replace us all. It seems that Apple put out an ad from their iPad Pro presentation. It wasn't received very well. You'll see why. Second story is the big story of the week for me. It was the Let Loose event, and it was the iPad presentation for 2024. So we'll go over that, and that we have from Mashable. Oh, I forgot to mention the first article we'll get from Tom's Guide. Second one will be from Mashable. Then third story, I just said no iPad mini. Is it on its way out? Tech Radar basically asked the question, so we'll see what they say about that, because no iPad mini was presented at all. And at the same day, and I'm wondering, is usually it's Google's trying to put the Pixel up against Samsung, but maybe they're trying to go up against Apple a little bit. But they released the Pixel 8a out of the blue on the same day, so that is out, and I've got that story on Tech Radar. And then I said the next one, I said I try to come up with articles you're not going to see everywhere. I think you might find interesting. I said, think Google epic battle is over. Don't hold your breath. I found the story on Android Central. That battle is still ongoing, and we'll just take a quick look at that. And then since I told you about United Health getting hacked 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and they got a pretty big, and they ended up paying a $2 million ransom to the hackers. So this week, Ascension Health, which is another big healthcare provider in the United States, they got hacked. And I said another cyber attack on a major healthcare network, but a much more timely response. Because with United Health, they were telling us about it 2 months after it happened. Well, Ascension let us know about it this week when it happened, which I think is much, much better. And that I got from CNN Business. So those are the stories we'll go over tonight. And now Eleanor is in here. So she said, hi all. Again, Brian and Eleanor and Annette out in California, they are probably my 3 most faithful subscribers, and Ren's out in the Philippines. But Ren's, it's in the Philippines right now, it is 12 hours ahead, so he's at work. Well, he will be at work very soon. He works, starts work around the same time I start this broadcast every week, and he finds time to drop in, even though he's very busy at work. So, without further ado, I'm going to start with tonight's stories, and if Ted or anybody pops in, I will let you guys know. So I'm going to start with the first story. This was interesting. I was surprised that people were so, I guess, offended by it, but you'll see why. So I just said, and this what the ad looked like. Apple ad received as AI will replace us all. That's how people seem to look at it. So let's go to Tom's Guide and take a look. Apple pulls new iPad ad following backlash and issues apology, which Apple rarely does, but they did this week. No more destruction of the human experience. And that was updated yesterday, and it's by Dave LeClaire. So I'll drop it into reader view, and we'll get rid of some of these ads. And I'll show you what the ad looked like without the music. The music was a song by Cher. And I won't play you the music, but it's a short ad, but I can see where people, well, you'll see what I mean. The buzz around the new iPad Pro has been mostly positive, with users excited about the raw power offered by the M4 chip and the new tandem OLED display. So people are pretty excited that it has OLED display. However, during the announcement, Apple aired a seemingly innocent Crush commercial that has caused an uproar, so much so that Apple has now apologized for the ad. So I wanted to do this story first, then I'll show you what they presented at the event. In the commercial, a hydraulic press descends upon artistic creations. It starts crushing musical instruments and other pieces of art, which was probably meant to play upon the social media trend of seeing how things will crush under a press. Just like those videos, once the press reaches paint, a smattering of colors explodes all over. When the press reaches the bottom, the entire human artistic experience has been crushed. And this is what people got upset about. The press, having finished its job, begins to rise up. Instead of what was there before, only an iPad Pro remains, implying that the tablet can replace everything that was just crushed by the hydraulic press. It's a visually pleasing commercial, I agree, with lots of colors and plot twists at the end, with the iPad emerging from the disruption. Now, before I play it for you, I'm going to give you his next sentence, because I felt the same way. I thought nothing added of it during the iPad reveal event, other than that was pretty neat. I had the same thought when I first saw it. But it appears that I didn't read the room very well. With thousands of jobs in artistic fields being threatened by AI, including mine at some point, it seems that implying technology can replace human artist tools is a touchy subject. So I'm going to play the ad for you. You won't hear the music, but you'll. So there's the press getting ready to come down. And in the background, they're singing All I Ever Need Is You. Yeah, if you don't think of it as basically replacing humans, it seems like kind of a cool ad. But once you get it in your head, it's not so cool. So now it's crushed everything, and now it lifts up. And what do you have left? You have the new iPad Pro. So people got very upset. Now we'll read the rest of the article. And Apple has taken note. Creativity is in our DNA at Apple, and it's incredibly important to us to design products that empower creatives all over the world. Apple Vice President of Market Communications, Tor Myron, said in a statement provided to Ad Age. Our goal is to always celebrate the myriad of ways users express themselves and bring their ideas to life through iPad. We missed the mark with this video, and we're sorry. Bloomberg reports that Apple has dropped plans to air the ad on television. Yeah, I can imagine the backlash they would have gotten if it had made it to television. Apple's apology comes after a few celebrities have weighed in as spotted by Deadline. Hugh Grant took to X to say the commercial is the destruction of human experience. But if you look at it that way, once that's in your head, you can see what they're talking about. Justine Bateman responded to Apple CEO Tim Cook's post featuring the commercial by saying, "Truly, what's wrong with you?" Meanwhile, Ed Solomon of Men in Black and Bill and Ted fame implied what he feels Apple is trying to say when it said, "Who needs human life and everything that makes it worth living?" So people really, really did get upset. And it's the creatives, of course, because this is saying AI is going to replace you. They didn't, Apple didn't mean it that way, but that's how it was taken. Dive into this digital simulacrum and give us your soul. Sincerely, Apple. That's what he thinks Apple meant by it. Alex Kranz of The Verge said they immediately thought, oh, this was not the right time for this commercial. And of course, he's right. That seems to be a common sentiment. It doesn't seem that Apple was being malicious with its ad, but we can understand the negative reaction. So people got very insulted. Apple has pulled it. We won't be seeing it again. So I don't know if you can still find it on YouTube, but you can still see it in this article from Tom's Guide. So I just thought that was an interesting one to start with. And we will go on to the next story. Oh, let's see. Brian said someone working for Apple going to get fired for this. I would hope not, because let's keep in mind, Tim Cook and all the big shots approved it. And like the guy who wrote the article, I thought it was kind of a nice, pretty cool ad. If you're not thinking of it as replacing humans, you can totally miss it. I missed it. The guy who wrote the article missed it. Obviously, the big shots at Apple missed it. But once it was brought up that, hey, you're replacing humans with AI, this is not a good commercial. And so you can see where it bothered them. So I'm hoping that no one got fired for it. But it's very possible, of course. So now I'm going to go on to the big event of the week. It was called the Let Loose event. And it was Tuesday, 7 a.m. Pacific time, which was early for Apple. And it was 10 a.m. our time, or my time, Eastern time. So I've pulled it from Mashable, and we'll just go over everything Apple announced during its iPad event, including new OLED iPad Pro. Apple finally delivered after months of rumors. Of course, this was from Tuesday. And see, Alex Perry wrote this, so let's drop it into review. Okay, Apple showed off some iPads. Let's talk about them. At its Let Loose event on Tuesday, Apple wasted no time getting into the next generation of its tablet line. Specifically, we got a couple new iPad Pro models and a couple new iPad Air models. Oh yeah, I noticed in this sentence, in this both cases, a couple and a couple, but a couple of new iPads, plural, and then a couple new iPad. I couldn't figure out what the difference was unless the plural was just a mistake. Anyway, that stuck out to me. I'm kind of a stickler for proper English and proper wording, so it's just the kind of stuff that I would catch. On top of this, we even saw the debut of Apple's latest in-house silicon. Here's everything Apple announced. New iPad Pro with OLED and M4 chips. Let's start with the showstopper. So this was the biggie. I know you're not supposed to do that, but whatever. Apple finally confirmed 2 new iPad Pro models to follow up on the 2022 model. Now, of course, I have the iPad Pro 2020, very happy with it, so I have no desire to go out and buy a new one. These new iPad Pros come in 11-inch and 13-inch models, and Apple wouldn't stop gushing, that's true, about how thin they are. This is the thinnest product Apple has ever made of any product. The 11-inch model comes in at 5.3 millimeters of thickness, while the 13-inch model is just 5.1 millimeters thick. According to Apple, it's the thinnest Apple product ever, yes. The 11-inch model launches at $999, and the 13-inch model will run you $1,299. They come in just 2 colors, silver and space black. Very Apple-esque. Apple focused heavily on 2 big enhancements for this next round of iPad Pros. Specifically, they have all new OLED displays, and everybody's excited about that, with 1600 nits of peak HDR brightness. OLED offers deeper and truer levels of darkness. Everybody's always talking about the blacks you get with OLED. And generally makes everything look snazzier and fancier than an LCD display. That's very true. Aside from that, the new iPad Pros also mark the debut of Apple's latest in-house silicon, the M4 chip. This will enable things like hardware-accelerated ray tracing, but generally speaking, it'll just make the new iPad Pro run faster and more smoothly than before. Apple claims it's 4 times faster than the 2022 iPad Pro, which uses the M2 chip. And I find generally when Apple says it's such and such faster, they're usually right. Other odds and ends include a repositioned front-facing camera so that it's on the tablet's landscape edge, and 256 gigabytes of starting storage, up to a total of 2 terabytes. Truly, it is the most professional iPad you can get. Now, next product, new iPad Air. However, if you're not looking to edit feature films and/or Apple event live streams on a tablet, the new iPad Air might be for you. Apple confirmed what we basically knew going in, which was there are 2 new iPad Air tablets coming in at 11 inches and 13 inches in size. It's the first time Apple has launched the iPad Air in 2 different sizes. The 11-inch variant launches at $599, while the bigger iPad Air is $799. The color options is much better. Here are a bit better: blue, purple, starlight, and space gray. While the iPad Pro got most of the attention, Apple didn't spend as much time on the Air. No, it didn't. It doesn't feature a new mini LED display, as was previously rumored. However, the new M2 chip should provide a boost in performance and a repositioned front-facing camera like on the Pro. So the Pro got the M4, this got the M2. Should make the video calls better. Apple also doubled the starting storage, bumping it up to 128 gig. And they announced a new Magic Keyboard. Now I have the Magic Keyboard from my 2020. I love it. Yep, those are function keys, all right. Yep, they got function keys all across. Price the same as before. Price at $299. Sorry, for the 11-inch Pro. Uh, Wait a minute, I'm in the wrong place. Okay, of course, a new iPad Pro needs a new Magic Keyboard. As such, Apple is providing one. Priced at $299 for the 11-inch iPad Pro and $349 for the 13-inch version. The new Magic Keyboard works the same as before, but with some new additions. Crucially, it has a full function row now, which we see up here, to go along with a bigger and more responsive trackpad. Apple also promised it's generally bigger, but also lighter than before. I thought the old one was pretty light already. And now they announced a new Apple Pencil Pro. Lastly, aspiring artists or casual doodlers got some good news at the Apple event. I find the pencil, what it does best for me is it works as a pointer when I'm on the iPad. Just my feeling. Yes, there's a new Apple Pencil. It's called the Apple Pencil Pro, and it launches at $129. Apple actually went and did a bunch of stuff to this new pencil, including adding haptic feedback, I think is great, and a gyroscope for more accurate motion detection, also a very good idea. It's also got a new squeeze gesture you can use to select shortcuts without touching the screen. Oh, and Apple added Find My support to the Apple Pencil Pro in case you lose it. I think that's a good idea too. You shouldn't lose it though, because it magnetically attaches to and charges from the side of the iPad Pro, which it did before too. That's convenient, except mine's magnetic and goes on top. That's convenient. Oh, the Pencil Pro works with the iPad Air too. So that's the stuff that was announced, and I figured that was a big deal, and I better go over it. And here's Annette. Annette, glad you're here. My 3 most faithful subscribers, almost always here, and boy, do I appreciate you guys very, very much. So, all right, now let's see. When I said I was hoping nobody got fired, Brian said higher ups rarely take accountability. That's true for the most part, I think. I still hope nobody gets fired over it. Okay, back to the web page. Okay, so let's get out of here. That was the big event of the week. And I just found this story on Mashable, and I thought it was a good story to follow up with. After this, I'll get off of Apple. Apple's, oh no, let's see. Oh, I said no, iPad mini, is it on its way out? Well, let's see what Tech Radar thinks. So this was published 2 days ago. Why didn't Apple launch an iPad mini 7? The latest rumors suggest it's still en route. This is by Mark Wilson. We got a new iPad Pro in Air, but where's the new iPad mini? So into reader view we go. The new iPad Pro 2024 and iPad Air 6 are both long-awaited upgrades to Apple's biggest tablets, but the launch event was worryingly quiet for the iPad mini. Does that mean Apple's smallest tablet is on the chopping block? Not necessarily, according to the latest rumors, though its future does remain uncertain. We confirmed with Apple that the current iPad mini 6 is the same model as before Apple's iPad 2024 event, so nothing's changed there, and has the same pricing. So despite the big changes we saw for its larger siblings, including an M4 chip for the iPad Pro, Apple hasn't given its 8.3-inch tablet any kind of bump. That's a little disappointing for fans of the compact tablet, but all is not lost. Last month, Bloomberg's reliable Mark Gurman claimed that Apple is also working on new versions of the low-end iPad and iPad mini, but that those won't be coming before the end of the year at the earliest. This echoed an earlier report from respected analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, who stated that mass production of the iPad Mini 7 has merely been delayed rather than canceled. Now, keep in mind, these two guys are probably the two most dependable when it comes to rumors. So usually they're pretty right about whatever they say. This remains the last credible. These remain the last credible rumors we've heard about an iPad Mini 7. So there's still a chance we'll see it arrive later this year, even with only a minor processor upgrade. That said, Gurman did predict that Apple's low-end iPad would be a cost-reduced version of the 10th generation model from 2022, and that's what happened at yesterday's event, albeit earlier than he predicted, so he was right about that. Apple killed its 9th gen iPad and cut $100 off the price of the 10th gen version, and he said it would be a lower cost, and it is. So as it stands, the iPad Mini lives on, with rumors still predicting a refreshed iPad Mini 7 is in the works. But as the only iPad-related product in Apple Store that doesn't have a new label on it, its future does still look a little uncertain, so he's still nervous about it. Is the Mini still relevant? The iPad Mini is now clearly caught between Apple's larger tablets and the increasingly large iPhone. Yeah, the iPhone's getting closer to that. The iPhone 16 Pro series, for example, is expected to grow in size this year to include a 6.3-inch and a 6.9-inch screens on the Pro and Pro Max models. Apple's reluctance to give the iPad Mini 6, which arrived back in 2021, even a minor specs upgrade, also suggests that interest in the compact tablet has waned. I don't know if that's true. But the tablet does also continue to have something of a cult following. Yes, it always has had, with many find it to be an ideal size for note-taking and watching movies while on the move. The current iPad Mini is also a great size for reading books and playing games, so a future-proofed specs bump with a new processor, most likely the A16 chip from the iPhone 14 Pro and Max, would likely be enough to keep fans happy. An M1 chip would be even better, of course, but it could push the price too high. Right now, this remains the most likely scenario according to the latest speculation, even if Apple's iPad 2024 event may have understandably dented those hopes. Still, while Apple's new tablet looks dead search for the top of our guide to the best tablets, the iPad Mini does live on, with the iPad Mini 6 still a solid option, particularly if you pick up a cheaper refurb version if you need a compact tablet. And that's how I got my iPad Air. My MacBook Air, sorry. I got the refurb version, which saved me a whole lot of money. So let me get out of here. And of course, Brian being as faithful as he always is. Thank you, Brian, as always, very much. You know where it's going. He said hi to Annette. They said hi. We're good. And nothing else new in the comments. So back to our stories. And I'm thinking Ted probably didn't make it in. Keep in mind, Ted lives in Dallas, so if he's doing his photography stuff, well, it's still probably sunny there because he's an hour behind us. So I can see where he might be out doing photography work. So on to my next story. Now we're off of Apple and we're on to Google. And this, like I said, this surprised everybody. I don't think anybody expected this. Google reveals the Pixel 8a, and I took it from Tech Radar. Of course, everybody had the story. And everybody was surprised, as near as I could tell. The Google Pixel 8a is here, and yes, you can already get it for free with this deal. This was published the same day, Tuesday, May 7th. Best Buy's deal gets you a free device and the handy gift card. Google's trade-in deal is pretty good. Best Buy's is a little bit better because I've checked them both. Not saying I'm getting the 8A. And for me, it'll end up being either the 8A before the 9, so I'll probably wait until the 9 comes out and then we'll see. I still have my Pixel 7, and that's probably what I'll be trading in. So let me put this into reader view. The Google Pixel 8a has finally landed, and Best Buy is offering an exceptional introductory deal for this new mid-range Android flagship. And if you're in the market, I'd say yes, that's very, very true. For a limited time only, the retailer is offering. For some reason, Google decided to talk to me. Stop talking to me. Okay. For a limited time only, the retailer is offering a potent combination of a $100 gift card as a bonus freebie and a trade-in rebate of up to $499. Now, that's up to. But still, the offer is pretty good. The trade-in offer is pretty spectacular. A saving that's enough to cover the entire cost of the device. Yeah, if you get $499, you've covered it. The latest Google Pixel 8a, as with previous iterations in the series, features a superb lineup of specs and AI-assisted features for a wallet-friendly price that significantly undercuts the competition. In addition to a powerful new Tensor G3 chipset, you'll also get a 120Hz refresh display and a guaranteed 7 years of software updates, making this particular device even better value than its predecessors. You can read more about the device just down below or head over to our main Google Pixel 8a hub page for a full rundown of everything you need to know. So what's new? The latest Google Pixel 8a is the most fully featured device yet in the A series, thanks to a 6.1-inch actual display up to 120Hz, 8x super res zoom in a Tensor G3 chip, the same that's featured in the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro. Internally, the device carries a beefy 4492 milliamp battery that Google claims is good for 24 hours of usage. That would be nice. The brand has also confirmed 7 hours of Android security and 7 years of Android security and feature updates, which should boost the device's lifespan significantly. As always with Pixel smartphones, the Pixel 8a blends together excellent hardware with the latest software features from the brand. Alongside new generative AI features for text and circle to search, you'll also get old favorites like Photo and Blur and Magic Eraser. These super handy features, as well as Best Take, that's the one you can put the best face that you find or that AI finds, so you can actually have a smiley face or you can go find a different face. It's pretty awesome. As well as Best Take, easily make the Pixel 8a one of the best mid-range devices on the market for avid mobile photographers. So that is out there. Now, I did see MKBHD. He said if you're going to spend the money, just go ahead and get the 8, which is only $50 more. And, of course, you got more phone for the money there. And there was another big reviewer who kind of said that thing. He just said, don't waste your money because you're better off spending the $50 and getting the 8. So just wanted to throw that in there. But it is out there. And like I said, if I don't go for the 9, then I'll probably get the 8A myself and trade in my 7. My 7, of course, is pretty old at this point. So anyway, just thought I should let you guys know about it in case you hadn't heard it. And at least it got me off the Apple stuff. Now, my last 2 stories. Again, something I didn't think everybody would be talking about. I just said, think Google Epic battle is over. Don't hold your breath. I found this on Android Central. Come on, okay. Google says Epic's demands are unnecessary, but maybe that was the point. This was written by Brady Snyder on May 6th, on Monday. Why not shoot for the stars and see what you end up with? So he's saying that's what Epic did. So let's go into review. Epic has been on a years-long quest to avoid paying fees on mobile platforms and gain the unabridged right to offer alternative payment methods for in-app purchases. Though the company largely lost its lawsuit against Apple, the opposite happened in its case against Google. In an unexpected jury verdict in December 2023, it was determined that Google has a monopoly on app distribution on Android. So what comes next? Yeah, that surprised everybody that they basically beat Apple on that one, but it's not over yet. Though Epic won its case, the situation is far from over. First, Epic had to tell the court what it wanted a resolution to look like, so they have to give their demands. Then Google had a chance to respond by May 2nd with its own filing, and the company did so last week. Later this month, a hearing scheduled for May 23rd will see each side make their case in front of a judge with expert testimonies. A final decision from the court is certain to come later than that. Google still plans to challenge the original verdict, but its latest court filing tells us what it thinks about Epic's demands. In a statement to TechCrunch, Google's Vice President of Government Affairs and Public Policy, Wilson White, called Epic's asks unnecessary and far beyond the scope of the recent U.S. trial verdict. Pardon me. While Epic did win the case, the court's opinion on the injunctions filed by Epic and Google will determine what the game developer actually won, because we don't know that yet. The positions held by both companies are entirely expected, and it's doubtful that either Epic and Google, I think they meant Epic or Google, think that the courts will completely side with them. What will likely happen is that the presiding Judge James Donato, yeah, we've heard his name a lot in the last couple of years, of the United States District Court for the Northern District of California, will find a middle ground between the two companies. Yeah, so far this judge, up until now, for the decisions he's made, seems pretty fair to me. What Epic asked for and why it makes sense. The changes that Epic wants to see on the Google Play Store are far-reaching and would create a completely different environment than the one we see today. It might be easy to laugh at Epic's proposed remedy. I don't think you want to laugh at them now at this point, but it makes complete sense. In a negotiation, you always ask for more than you think you'll get. That way, when concessions are made, you'll end up with more than you would have if you started out at what might be considered more reasonable and fair. 100% agree with that. Of course, Epic could also end up getting everything it asked for. After all, few experts and analysts expected Epic to come away with a victory against Google in the first place, but they did. If you're at the helm of Epic, why not try for absolutely everything you can and see what you come away with? A high-level overview of what Epic is asking for, now this is key here, is complete parity between the experience of downloading apps through the first-party Google Play Store, third-party app marketplaces, and sideloaders. So they want you to be able to get it any way you want. And Apple, of course, doesn't allow that yet. There's a full 16 pages of demands, but it all boils down to that central point. Epic wants Google to remove Android warnings that push users away from downloading apps from alternate sources and cease exclusivity deals with developers. Now, of course, Google will say it's just dangerous, and they're right to a degree. It also wants to bar Google from offering exclusive features that other developers can't, like integration with Google products and services. I don't see them getting that. Google's rebuttal isn't wrong either. We also can't blame Google for countering with its alternative viewpoint, which appears to be a bit more fair than Epic's, although that's up for interpretation. Epic's demands would harm the privacy, security, and see, they're going to make a big point of that, and I would too, and overall experience of consumers, developers, and device manufacturers. So he's saying it's going to hurt everybody, said White on behalf of Google in a statement. Not only does their proposal go far beyond the scope of the recent U.S. trial verdict, which we will be challenging, It's also unnecessary due to the settlement we reached last year with state attorneys general from every state and multiple territories, he continued. We will continue to vigorously defend our right to a sustainable business model that enables us to keep people safe, partner with developers to innovate and grow their businesses, and maintain a thriving Android ecosystem for everyone. Google tells the court in its filing that Epic's proposed changes specifically around third-party app stores, yeah, they really don't want that, would limit its ability to protect users' privacy and security. And that's true, certainly to a degree. Additionally, it says that Epic's ask would force it to tell third-party app marketplaces the list of apps have already installed, potentially putting users in a compromising position. I'm not sure that's true, I guess. This could be devastating for users since governments in the US are already using users installed apps to investigate or prosecute them. Yet governments will jump all over that, that's for sure. Finally, Google argues that some of Epic's demands are redundant due to a previous settlement the company made in a case with some U.S. state attorneys general, which they just said. This deal eliminates expansive Google Play Store exclusivity deals, but still gives Google the opportunity to make smaller exclusivity agreements within apps. Google says Epic's asked to remove exclusivity deals altogether would limit developer opportunities, and I don't blame Google. What does the final ruling look like? Epic and Google are clearly at odds, and that's to be expected. After a review process, Judge Donato will likely create a final verdict that differs from both companies' proposed injunctions. We don't know what that might look like right now, but we may get a better idea following the May 23 hearing where both sides will make their cases. We do know that, however the result shakes out, Epic is pushing alternative app marketplaces on Android. Pardon me. The Epic Game Store is coming to Android later this year, regardless of the verdict in this case. However, if the court sides with Epic more than Google, the Epic Game Store might have a better chance to compete with the Google Play Store. That's just what Google doesn't want. So that battle is long from finished, but still, right now, Epic has the upper hand, I'd have to say. But like I said, so far I found the judge to be pretty fair in this case. So it should be interesting to see what the final verdict is. So I guess from the 23rd on, we'll learn something, maybe the majority of what the decisions will be. So, and I guess Brian said during our last Pixel 8, he said, just get the regular Pixel 8 on sale. Yeah. And this is what MKBHD said. This is pretty much what everybody's saying. Oh, Tech Odyssey was the other guy. He basically said the same thing. He said, don't waste your money. Just get the Pixel 8 on sale, and you can find it on sale. So I've got one more story. Another cyber attack on a major healthcare network, but a much more timely response. And the reason I put much in caps, I made a big deal when I had the story of the United Healthcare breach that they took like 2 months to even let us know about, even let the government know about it. So at least Ascension is letting us know during the week that it actually happened. So that I think is much, much better. So this was on CNN Business. Cyber attack disrupts operations at major U.S. healthcare network. And that's by Sean Lingus of CNN. I hope I'm saying that right. And it was from Wednesday. Let's go into review for the last time. A cyber attack has disrupted clinical operations at major healthcare nonprofit Ascension, forcing it to take steps to minimize any impact to patient care, and Ascension spokesperson told CNN on Wednesday. There has been a disruption to clinical operations, and we continue to assess the impact and duration of the disruption. And I think they made this statement the same day it happened, as near as I can tell. Said the statement from Ascension, a healthcare system that includes 140 hospitals and 40 senior living facilities in 19 states. So they're kind of big. Ascension recommended that its healthcare clients temporarily cut off network connections to Ascension as the incident is being addressed according to the statement. Smart move. Yeah, just don't have anything to do until we get more information. The nonprofit detected unusual activity on some of its computer systems on Wednesday, so same day, prompting an investigation and notification to the appropriate authorities, the Ascension spokesperson said in an emailed statement. Ascension has initiated procedures to ensure patient care delivery continues to be safe and as minimally impacted as possible, the spokesperson said. Interesting, they didn't tell us who that person was. If any sensitive patient data was compromised in the hack, Ascension will notify those affected, the nonprofit said. The Ascension spokesperson did not immediately respond to follow-up questions on whether the incident involved ransomware, because like I told you, United Health paid $2 million right off the bat in Bitcoin, I believe. So they're not talking about whether or not they paid anything or not, which locks computers so hackers can demand the fee. Healthcare providers across the U.S. have suffered numerous ransomware attacks in recent years, some of which have disrupted patient care and cost healthcare providers millions, if not billions, of dollars. A February ransom attack on a subsidiary of healthcare giant United Health, that's the one we reported on, group caused billing disruptions at pharmacies across the U.S. and threatened to put some health providers out of business. Yeah, so a February ransomware attack, but they didn't tell any of us about it till April. So that was my big beef with them. And I have United Healthcare as my backup network. So anyway, I just thought they reported this, and this was much better way in letting us know about it like right away. So the attacks are still out there, folks, and of course, I'm still letting you guys know about any hacks that do come along, and I'll probably have another one this weekend. So just letting you know, I try to keep you guys up to date on this stuff as much as I possibly can. So that's all the stories that I have for this week. Like I said, I guess Ted's out busy with his photography. We know Mike is out there making money on DoorDash, and hopefully Will's getting some sleep before he goes to work tomorrow morning. And when he goes to work on the weekends after working all week, he works 48 hours straight. So that man is tough. So I'm glad for everybody that came in tonight. Thank you, Brian, as always. Thank you all for being here. Annette, Eleanor, Brian, all of you guys. And I'll be back next week. I hope everybody has a very blessed weekend and a wonderful Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers. And I will see you guys next week. Let's keep in mind we all do better when we love each other.